and the chat, etc. So welcome everyone to the November Zoom meeting. Tonight, let's see, I'll share my screen.
Old memories of fire.
Sounds good. You can like to listen. Okay, good. Well, then everybody get ready for our next toss-up. It's worth.
Okay, so I have a video clip that I'll share. Talk a little bit about certification for 2023. Have some league rules for small-sided games matrix I want to share thanks to KD. And then, of course, open forum. Our goal is to be out of here in now 56 minutes. But if we don't have topics till 8 o'clock, that works as well. So tonight we're going to start off with a video clip. And as we did last month, just looking for people's feedback in regards to what they see, what they like, what maybe they would change if they were doing, if they encountered this situation in their game. So that's what I'm looking for participation. Give me a minute. This is not always the easiest. Okay, I know it was a little choppy maybe from when it was played. So let's start here and see if you get another look now that you saw the play. Because like all referees, we get to have a second look at the play to make a decision. Okay, I'll open it up for comments from the peanut gallery. What do people think here? Do we have a foul? No foul? Let's start with that. If you think there's a foul, why don't you use the trying to remember what the
raise hand.
The reactions, yeah. Why don't you raise your hand? There we go. So that we're asking if we have a foul here. Okay, and I'm learning how to utilize Zoom so I can get I'm going to tell you right now, I like Microsoft Teams way better. Okay, so if someone wants to that raise their hand, oh, there we go. 11 participants raise their hand. We've got about 40 people on here. If one of those 11 people want to share why they think it's a foul, that would be great. Now everybody's lowering their hands. Hey, Kevin, do you want to give us your thought process on the foul here?
Yeah, I was conferring with my my assistant referee as well. So it looks like the player is about to take the shot. There's a slide tackle attempt, and it looks like he connects with the body of the player before touching the ball, knocking him down. Looks like it actually is out of the box, and then he rolls into the box. So I call that an illegal tackle.
Okay. So I know that there was probably, if I can do my math right, 39 people who didn't raise their hand. Is there anybody on the call that purposely did not raise their hand that felt that it wasn't a foul that would like to walk through that? Okay, so I'm gonna guess, is there someone there?
Yeah, Vasilios here.
Okay, Vasilius, what do you got for us?
So from the angle that I see from the camera that we have, clearly the player with number with white shirt, he tried to take the shot, but the player that you received the red card clearly with feet on the ground take the ball out of the way. And the white player attempted to take the shot and he found his feet and he fell down. He didn't foul him. It's like the momentum. He didn't foul him when his feet was on the ball. He touched the ball first, and then the white player ran over him and fell down. So
Okay.
the perspective, this is what I see from the angle. I don't say the referee it was a bad call or good call. This is what I see.
Okay, so from your perspective, you're saying that the defender slid through and got the ball, and the attacker, the white player, then fell over the defender.
Yes. Ran over. I mean, the way that he tried to take the shot, inevitably he went to the defender and he fell down. I didn't see a foul.
Okay.
Richard, we've had a few more people join. You want to try and run it one more time?
Yeah.
Choppy. Can you pause it like contact point? Do your best there.
Let me do something even better.
Ooh.
Well, I did have, there we go. Is that where you wanted it to be slow motion for you, Jeremy?
That was beyond what I was hoping for. Well done.
Glad I was able to help there. Okay, so we've kind of heard from the piece of whether that's a foul or not. One stating that the player fouled the attacker in regards to being able to come up with that as a foul. And then another perspective of with the defender being able to play the ball prior to making contact, or their contact occurring with the attacking player, felt that it's not a foul. So I'm going to hand it over to our national coach, Ray Moffitt, to help us walk through what would USSF want in this particular contact of a foul or not a foul, and kind of the reasoning behind that decision.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Richard.
Yep.
I don't know who, I couldn't tell by who was reffing the game, but I want to applaud them for making the decision. I think the interesting thing there, when you look at this, again, we're just seeing a clip, and the clip can be confusing at times. Let me lower my hand here so it's not confusing me. But think about it like this, and this is where your history of what happens. It's the guy's second yellow card. He didn't give him a straight red. He gives him a second yellow. So therefore, he's made a tackle like this in the game already. So to think this is not a foul, this is where the learning curve comes in, okay? So a guy is on yellow, and he's making that tackle right there. That's telling you it's a foul. Now, again, thank you for slowing it down, because if the slowed down pitcher would have said he slid in front of him and the guy rolls over him, he would have landed on his stomach. If the guy slides and you land on your back, that means he got you because you're off balance and you land on your back. So it's not just about, you have to think about what's happening before it does, okay? So in this case here, I think we definitely have foul. I mean, I'm thinking if he would have been one step away and makes this tackle, it's this is almost a straight red card foul, because he's jumping into his Achilles, to his ankle from the side. So I have foul, I have yellow card, and it's unfortunate it's the second yellow card, but obviously this player didn't learn his lesson after the first yellow card. And so that's where, if I'm the coach watching this, I would have expected a yellow card to be pulled out on a play like this.
Okay. So on that part of the second piece of whether or not this is a cautionable offense, with the player making contact with the ball, at least in my opinion, from the game footage, prior to the attacking player getting there, do you think that still keeps it in the reckless category? Is which I'm guessing
I'm saying yes, because again, I think that as we watch the World Cup, and we've been confused by the physicality of the World Cup. This game isn't the World Cup. This is a game at Starfire. This is what we ref in. So in our game, this is if you go ball and go over the ball and then get the leg, you've made contact with the body, with the bottom of your studs onto a guy's ankle. That's a yellow card. Now, if the ball wasn't there, it makes an easier decision. I'm still thinking, for me, he just gets him. I'm not thinking that he got the ball. I mean, it's not like the ball got shot out along. I can't even see the ball right now in this still picture, because if he got the ball would be to the left of our screen, past a couple of defenders. If you move your cursor, I see the guy on the ground, and then just move your, okay, I'm sorry, there you go. And watch where the ball, if you start right there, watch where the ball goes. It's not going that far. So I'm not even thinking he got the ball. I mean, if the ball is just right there. So I'm thinking that he got a lot more man than he got the ball, because if he gets the ball goes flying off to our left. And then there might be an argument then, I got a lot of the ball, but then I look at how the players on the ground, and I think that, again, usually I'm watching a game like this and I'm upset because we're not making the decision. I'm actually happy that the referee makes a quick and decisive decision. He goes straight for his yellow card, and he knew who the player was, because he's not thinking about, does he already have a yellow? He knows he already has a yellow and is reaching for his red. So this referee, I give him, double thumbs up for how he dealt with the mechanics of it.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing in this conversation of the analysis is some of the pieces in regards to looking at how close the play and that tackle is being made with the attacker, in our decision making, whether or not the ball is maintained in the possession of the defender would help you make decisions in regards to foul or no foul.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hey, one question on this. so it clearly the white player's in the process of going to shoot. Where's the line where this would become preventing a goal scoring opportunity and become a send off?
Look at the players. It's not even the dog, so it's not even a question. Look, I mean, if you go back, just roll the tape back right about there, I believe it is, back when the ball squirts through the other white player. Look how many defenders are there. You have the goalkeeper and you have the center back, and there's another center back to the left. If dog so's not even a consideration there.
Okay. Thank you.
And Ray, building on that, because stopping a promising attack is another component you could come in here. You could still use that same
Yes.
rationale that you just used on why this isn't a stopping a promising attack.
Yeah, and for me, this was more a yellow card because it's a reckless tackle. Because remember, you're thinking reckless. You're thinking stopping a promising attack is tactical. There's nothing tactical about this because there were so many. The numbers don't say it's a promising attack. At the time, there were 2 white players and 4 defenders. Your numbers don't say promising because if it's 4-on-2, it's promising. 2-on-4 is you need help. So it's not even promising. It's just a reckless tackle in this case here. So your numbers would dictate whether SPA, as they call it, would be a consideration here.
Okay, everyone, you've got a national coach here on the webinar. Anybody have any other questions they kind of want to talk about in regards to this scenario and what maybe you're seeing in your games with these same type of situation and or tackles?
Hey, Richard, this is Darren. I got a question in regards to how you raised the question about he didn't learn his lesson the first time. How do we manage that throughout the game after the first caution has taken place? And how do we manage players in that vein?
So I think if you have a player who is on a caution, any caution, and they are playing in a manner that seems to be out of control, and or putting themselves in situations that could lead to a reckless tackle, I think reminding players to be smart about that they're sitting on a yellow and they should probably be extra careful to not get a second yellow. Is that what you're asking?
I think so. Yeah, it's I think there's a game management side that you're referring to that certainly would help. I don't know if there are indicators about him being reckless or almost reckless in other instances in between those 2 yellows. So just
Can I chime in, Richard?
Yeah.
I think that, again, in my referee coaching style, do not think about this as a referee. I don't know if you're a parent or if you babysat before. If your child is on your nerves and you warn him at 8 o'clock not to make another mistake, he's in the back of your mind for the rest of the day. Is he going to make the same mistake again? So as a referee, I mean, again, we're looking at one clip, but if again, it's the second yellow. If I give a yellow card in minute 5, that player, I mean, we do forget. Don't get me wrong. I've forgotten in the past, but I don't, not anymore. You know who you've given a yellow card to. You're doing your best to keep this. You need to manage him the rest of the game. Remember, the same person you give a yellow card to, when his teammate fouls someone, he comes up fussing at me. It's like, wait, dude, you have a yellow card. Why would you not tell him that? And so usually a kid who gets a yellow is a kid who gets a yellow every game. Everyone knows it.
Right.
I mean, if you have a kid who plays and there's one player on the team, because the parents are taking bets, when is he going to get his yellow card today? And as a referee, if you've seen a team for the second or third time, it's number 15 in the black. I wonder how quickly I'm going to give him a yellow card. This is how we have to start thinking now. And it doesn't matter if he's been right or wrong between the 5th minute and the 85th minute. If he does something wrong in the 85th minute that warrants it, it doesn't matter if he was a good guy the rest of the time. You can't be a knucklehead twice in the same game. That's the reason why we give 2 yellow cards. And that's just cut and dry. And again, I hope that everyone's not getting what's the word I'm confused by what we're seeing in the World Cup. Because someone asked me, there's a reason why I haven't made any comments on Facebook. Is because I can say it here because I'm amongst friends. There are way more yellow cards that should have been given this past week than have been given. And we know the reason why. But I hope we're not going to take that to our games, because otherwise then you're going to be a whole bunch of mass confrontations.
Yeah, I try not to.
If you don't give a yellow card on this, guess what? The next time down the field, some guys in the white, they're going after that kid. They're going to go after that kid. If you do not give him a yellow card, you're actually giving him a yellow card to protect himself at that point in time.
Right. No, I my hope is that it's not coming across that I wouldn't do that. I'm just trying to manage it between.
Yeah. Use your voice. Use your voice early and often after you've given a yellow card.
Right.
Richard, there was a comment in the chat by Jeremy, I think is relevant also. So
Yeah,
Jeremy?
so I think that I think now that we've kind of talked about the foul itself, here we have a great clip where we can talk about positioning. So let's now, as we watch this clip, let's think about the referee's positioning, what you like about it, or what you would want to see yourself do differently on the pitch based on this situation. So comments on positioning here.
Yeah, when I watched it, there was like you see the white line that you can see that's ahead or on top of the D, right? So maybe 10 yards away from that. If the referee had made that extra 3 to 5 yards of space, now you're within 10 yards of the foul, the incident, right? And it just sells it, I think, a little bit better, right? Anticipate, right? So that now if we're just a little bit more urgency in our run, if we can just get to that white line, we're better off. That was my comment.
Okay, so I think that's a good comment in regards to proximity of play, of maybe wanting to, again, here's an opportunity where we have an attacking play that we want to make sure we're within that 10 yards of where we're going to have contact with, or potential contact with, opposing players. So now that we've talked about in regards to up and down the field, let's talk about the positioning going across the field. And are there thoughts in regards to how we would maybe want to see as an official in the position in regards to touchline to touchline? Thoughts from participants?
Let's see this again. I messed up the first time, so I think I'm gonna get it good now. So what I see again, he could go a little bit closer to the line on that side when he makes the turn on the circle, to be between the connection on the circle and the outside line, somewhere there in the half of this area over there, to be closer on the situation where the ball plays. Yes, somewhere there, a little bit further out. And again, what I see, it's something different. It looks like he have the same speed from the time that you start the video all the way to there. So as soon as the players come closer, we didn't see any acceleration to be a little bit closer to the foul. It looks like from the beginning he have the same gear. I don't know if that's okay or not.
That's a great evaluation, to be able to change your speed. And then for me, I would say once the possession is changed, move to the left, because what happens is he's running directly behind the play. And what can you see? I think if he drifts to the left at a higher rate of speed, he has a better, again, we're critiquing a guy who I think got it right. And so first of all, he did get it right, but to make it even better, increase the speed, float to the left so you can create an angle, because you can't see if two people are back to back, you can't see through a straight line, but every step you take to the left, you create an angle to see that space between players. And that would have been, again, we're talking about selling the call. You would be able to sell it better. Change of direction, increase speed, float to the left to create an angle.
Yep, I think that's great. Vasily, did you have something you wanted to add on that?
Yeah, I would like to add on the critique situation. Everybody of us could be there, and everybody will run the same game, and we probably have more game before, like 2 or 3 games, and we're tired. It's not the referee, the specific referee, he does all these situations, but I would like to make sure that everybody understand that he is the one that we try to analyze the scenes over here, and that's why we don't critique the referees. We just try to find the best position to get something for us, like a benefit for us, that we not face the same issue or do the same mistakes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Vasilius, because I think, this is, as we wind down the fall season is the busiest time of the year, and many of us are doing more games than we probably want to, more centers than in a row than we may want to. But I think that this conversation sets us all up well as we go into the winter session, where we probably don't need to take as many centers in a row to be able to give other refs opportunities, because we're going to have less games, and we continue to build our numbers of referees. And so that way, when we are doing these games, because I'm going to guess, this is probably a U17 game and or higher, that, this should be the game that we're able to give it to its all from a fitness level. So that way, as we are making this play, we are going to be able to, 1, get wider, which does take more fitness, and 2, have that ability to have that sprint. So that way we're staying within 10 yards of play. So that way we're able to better sell our call. So I think it's really good feedback here in regards to what we optimally want to see. And footage like this, like Ray even said, we don't get a lot of good footage on our games. We get footage on MLS games and on World Cup games, which most of us aren't going to be officiating. And so these are nice games to be able to help us all with some material that is something we can all relate to. So with that, anybody have any other closing questions, comments on this particular footage?
Yeah, Richard, KD here. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there were several comments in the chat about checking on the player that was fouled, the white player on the ground, before issuing a yellow to the black-orange player. Can you comment on that, on whether the what's the word I'm looking for? The not appropriateness, but the severity of the result of the foul, does that affect your decision whether to give a yellow or a red, not just in this case, but in any scenario where someone potentially is hurt.
So with that question in that context, let me take another look at this in regards to the quick cautions. So I think that in regards to injured players and when you need to tend to them as opposed to issuing your misconduct right away, I think depends upon the severity of the contact and then how the player themselves are on the field. I think this one here is kind of one I would describe as 50-50 in regards to I could see how an official may go and check on that player first because of that tackle and how he went to the ground. But I also could understand why maybe they issued the misconduct first to try to diffuse the situation. We don't know the temperature, or I don't know the temperature of the game. And did the official feel like this foul was going to create a situation where White's going to retaliate against that defending player? And by issuing that misconduct quickly, that kind of settles White down from that like retaliatory action. I kind of see the player on the ground doing that rolling or back and forth of, you know, I'm hurt, but I'm not severely hurt. I didn't hear any cries out in pain from the contact. So that may be another one where the ref felt that issuing the misconduct would be okay before tending to the player. Those are some of, go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, no, the reason I asked in this, in using the severity of the result of the play, the foul, to decide whether you give a yellow or a red. I know because on my son's team, I know a player who tends to be quite dramatic when he gets fouled. And he has a way of telling his parents whether he's really hurt or not hurt and trying to get a call or a card from the ref. And this is on my son's team. So sometimes, I don't know, it's as a ref, it's hard to determine who's acting and who's really hurt. And do you take that into consideration when issuing a card or the severity of the card? So that's why I'm asking it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good question. You know, Ray, if you don't mind, I'm gonna reach out to you and you provide a perspective on top of what I've already said, because I think that kind of aligns with what you were talking about earlier in regards to not always looking at this game from a referee perspective, but maybe a parent or a babysitter in regards to managing the whole piece on the field.
Yeah, I agree with your thought process of understanding who's there, who's not there. You know, it's funny that we talk about this now because our most famous diver out there, he should be an Olympic diver, is Neymar. And we all saw the play where he got hurt and he got stomped on pretty good and the referee plays advantage. And now Neymar is not playing. And the debate is, well, he dives all the time, he deserves it. No, he doesn't. If he dives all the time, what he should have deserved was a yellow card for the diving. But the fact is, he got manhandled in that game. I was surprised there was no persistent offenses given in that game or when they played. But in a situation to where player goes down, and again, we talk about proximity. If you're close enough to the play, and my favorite word is 17 yards, you can see things. Because at 17 yards, it takes 2 steps to get 10 yards away, is what it does. Okay? Now we go from my 17 to your 10, Richard. And then if you're there, you can see. And again, for those of us who are parents, for those of us who babysit a lot, you know how it is. We know when our kid, it's the movie. It's James Caan and Omar Epps. What is it, the program? Remember that scene when he says, are you injured or are you hurt? Because if you're hurt, I can do. If you're injured, I need the trainer. If you're hurt, get up and play. And you know, when I don't know, after when you do this long enough, you will know. There's how a kid grabs their stuff, their ankle or their knee, and how they're crying or how they're looking at you. But you know, if he's rolling and looking at you as he's rolling down, okay, there's nothing wrong. That's the player that the other gentleman just described on his team. He's looking for the foul. But when a kid goes down and he's not looking at you and he's crying, he's probably really hurt. Because when he's looking at you crying, he's, oh, are you pulling out your card? How long do I have to do this to get you to reach to your pocket? And so you have to be, and it's not necessarily reading minds, but you'll know. And so, like I said, you just can't go to a game and ref it anymore. You have to go to a game, and these are things that I'm talking about, things that I've learned over the last 10 or 20 years. In the beginning, I wasn't even thinking about this, but now we share this with you now. When you ref a game, look at the people in your game. There's 22 people. There's probably one on each team that's a diver that's going to beg for a call. There's other kids who are really nice and calm and quiet. You have to learn them in your, whether it's 60 minutes, 70 minutes, 80 minutes, or 90 minutes, you have to figure them out. And for those of you who work for Richard a lot, and, oh, I've seen this team 2 months ago, you have to have a good memory. Oh yeah, number 22, he's going to roll around a lot. Number 16, if they touch him, he's going to be begging for a yellow card. You have to have a book on all your players. And so I think that as you have to think about what people do. When you call a foul and the guy goes down, they will do the same thing all the time. They will let you know that, okay, it's just a foul, I'll get up and play. And certain guys will get out and whine and roll around. And even when they get, just barely touched and he rolls around, that says a lot. Okay, I know what this guy is going to do. Have that, keep it in the back of your mind is what I'm getting at. Just keep it in the back of your mind.
Richard, can I make a comment?
Definitely.
Real quick. When you see something on the field, start with where Ray was at the very beginning. What was the point of contact? What was the mode of contact? And think about also in terms of speed, distance, and force. So if you process that, that will give you considerations about if it should be a foul with a caution, or a foul with an ejection. So think about those terms. Again, point of contact, mode of contact, and then speed, distance, and force.
Okay, I'm gonna move us along. Thanks for the conversation with that video clip. Just want to remind everybody to get their certification done for 2023. In order to be able to self-assign to games in 2023, you have to be registered. I know that the signers will start to post games for 2023, probably in the next couple weeks. And until you have your certification done, you won't be able to assign to those games. For those of you on the call, I can give you the heads up that Pac Northwest hopes to give me their Winter Classic schedule for the first weekend, which is January 6th through the 8th, probably by this weekend. And so I have the potential that I'll be posting those games this weekend. And if you don't have your 2023 certification done, you won't be able to self-assign and have the best schedule and the games that you want. You'll have to wait until you get that certification done. Just to remind you to do your certification, you just go to the wareferees.org website. And when you log in there, you're able to register for 2023. If you need specific instructions because you don't use that website a lot, on the main screen, if you look on the right-hand side, there are some links to some helpful documents. And one of them being with the question of not registered for 2023 yet. And then that will go to a document for you to be able to follow and get registered. Is there any burning questions about certification for 2023? Okay. Next, I want to share a document that KD put together, and I think this is phenomenal and something that I think I had a vision in my head of what would work well, and KD was able to put it to paper. So this has those special rules that we as referees and the teams follow for some of our small-sided games. And it's broken up by the different leagues of RCL, WPL, NPSL, and then SSUL. And SSUL is the rec area kind of in, I think, South King County. But what he's done here is created rows of the different rule nuances for the small-sided game, and then documented which of these leagues follow that particular rule. So you'll see here that the no heading allowed is followed by RCL at U12. WPL allows heading at U12, and then NPSL doesn't allow it, but SSUL does. So this is a nice quick cheat sheet in regards to what rules each of the different leagues follow. So my plan is I haven't had a chance to do a lot of verification on this piece. I glanced at it and it looks accurate to me, but I'm going to do a little bit more work. And then I will get this posted to the Northwest Soccer Officials Ridge Star site as a document that people would be able to access. As we all, if for any of us who've ref for more than a year, we all know that these rules change on us often, or more often than we like. So if, as you are using this document to help you in regards to familiarizing yourself before you go do that U11 WPL game of which rules you need to follow, you find something that's inaccurate or you think it's inaccurate, please reach out to me so we can verify the rule and then be able to update this if necessary, and or maybe try to resolve the source that told you that it was incorrect. I don't know, I'll just open it up to see if anybody has any questions or comments about the matrix here.
Richard, if I can add the first comment to this, KD here. So if someone sees something that they know to be incorrect, please reach out to Richard. I only put this together because I started doing a game for a league that I hadn't done before, so I went on their website to see what the rules were, and I came across different rules for different leagues, so it was hard to keep track. So I put together this matrix, and if you, once Richard publishes this and you have access, if you click on the actual league, the RCL lettering, the WPL lettering, it will take you to the website where I found those rules. Now, some of these rules, the only one that I saw was the NPSL showed that it was updated as of 2022, October 2022 of this year. All the other ones like WPL, SSUL, you'll see that it was updated last in 2019 or 2020. I don't know if they publish updated rules or they just haven't updated rules. And so if you see something that it's to be wrong, I need this to be vetted because I don't want to publish or advertise wrong information. Yeah, so that's my comment for that.
Yeah, thanks, KD.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
There's
A couple from the chat. The first one is, do all leagues enforce offside at the same line halfway in build out? I think the answer is yes. It's either going to be either one, right? If you're old enough, you're halfway.
Yeah, so that's one piece that we could add to this matrix, is where the offside is called.
So I think I put that in row number 6, build out line in effect, including offsides. I think if build out line is in effect, offsides is called from the build out line. I did not come across any league that had a build out line, which tells the players to get back when the goalie has the ball, but called offsides at midfield. I did not come across that.
So if there's no X for like WPL,
Yep.
U11 and U12, your offside is the halfway.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And Ed had a good suggestion, I think. Can you include number of players and duration of half on the sheet? That would be also helpful, I think, potentially, when we're building that up.
That was number of players and what? Duration of
Half, yes.
So, and this is a good, yeah, we'll attempt that. What I learned this last week, no, actually, I think I'm going to be, yeah,
So,
I think RCL actually has U8 teams that play where some of them are 7v7 and some U8 games are 4v4. But let's see what I can do to try to articulate that on here. I think Jeff Cameron has his hand raised. And Jeff, maybe Jeff's, you're still on mute if you're talking, Jeff.
Sorry about that. I've got a sheet that's already got 90% of the stuff you're talking about. I will get it scanned and a copy over to you.
Oh, that'd be fantastic, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. Han had an interesting note. The only weird thing is WPL U11 allows punting, but no heading. It's correct.
yes.
Had a
Yeah,
game
so-
with two coaches. Yeah. So there you go. Sorry, Katie, please.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I don't know if they allow punting, but I found no rules that prohibited it. So I assume it's allowed.
It sounds like Han checked and it was right. So.
Oh, so Han agreed that they could punt at U11.
Punt, but no head.
Yep. Yeah.
I call that inviting vampires into your house. But hey, I don't run the league.
And where,
Go ahead.
yeah, where it got confusing, especially this summer when I was refereeing a U11 game, was you will have a tournament where there's different leagues involved. The team from WPL plays a team from RCL, and the coaches are operating under different rules. I was asked by a coach, why didn't I call off sides? Because he came from WPL, and there's no build-out line at U11. Once you go to 9v9, it's no build-out line. But the tournament rules, because it was hosted at Starfire, was governed by the Washington State youth rules, which has a build-out line. So that's where it gets confusing when coaches coming from different leagues are playing each other and they don't realize the difference in the league rules.
I think that's a great opportunity for pregame, even if there's no check-in during a tournament, right? So we should know, based on, especially if you're doing an NSO match, we'll have notes in your game that you just took or got assigned to, that what the rules are for that tournament, right? And so just going up to coach, say, hey, yeah, coach, yeah. Sometimes it's an alternate half. Yeah, 25-minute half, 30-minute halves, no punting, no heading, indirect free kick on the header. And they go, oh yeah, okay. So and you do that, even if it's just a flyby before the game match starts, because you're already 2 minutes late, will help prevent some of that angst during the match itself. Another suggestion from Ed on distance from ball for free kicks on the matrix. That also sounds awesome. We do have the penalty kick distance in yards. Some of these could differ, perhaps. So that's a good call out. Yeah, Richard K mentions that, yeah, always from the build out line if it's in use, and from midfield otherwise. Yeah, more about the halfway and build out. Always run through these coaches pregame. Hey, we're thinking on the same wavelength, Richard K. Well done. Anything else on the matrix?
Yeah, can somebody comment on Rich Turner's? He's saying that WPL enforces at the halfway line not at the build out line. I did not find that in my research.
I
Yeah,
brought it up
I-
because Richard Meeks told me.
Yeah, I know that it's correct. I found it in the rules. Well, actually, it's because
What
there's no build out line at that age. So that's why.
Okay, so if there is a build out line, then offsides is always at the build out line if it's in effect, right?
I personally cannot answer that in the affirmative because I would need to relook at the rules.
Okay,
I'll go ahead and step in and answer that and say that yes, that is correct. If a build out line in WPL is utilized, that is the line for offside to be called from.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's at midfield.
Yep, that's consistent with what I have found, Craig. Yep.
Thank
have
you,
not. Yeah.
Craig. Our WPL assigner for those U9 and U10 games at Starfire.
And also so WPL has combined U8 into their development league. So the U8 uses the same U9 and U10 rules.
So you're saying that WPL has gotten rid of those X's for rows 10 through 13?
Within the development league. Now, I don't know if there's small-sided games that happen at the recreational level where those would still be true.
Okay. So what I think I hear you saying is that WPL has a recreational league that would be different than the development league.
That's correct.
That we would need to differentiate U8. Okay. Any other comments on the matrix? Okay, at this point then, that leaves it for open forum and any other things that anybody wanted to discuss tonight that we hadn't already talked about.
Hey, Richard, this is Jeff Hannon. I am nothing if not obedient. You sent out that email about certification, and I went right in this afternoon and started to do it. My first question is, do you know that is the certification all the modules and things for a grassroots referee that's just kind of re-upping? Is that going to be the same for everybody? They don't change it, based on individuals or anything like that. It's all the same, correct?
For all grassroots referees, that is all the same material, which is different than the grassroots advanced referees, which would be then different from the regional referees. But each of the different levels have the same trainings for that grade.
Got it. Okay. Well, so, and I probably misspoke. It's the one I'm doing is probably grassroots advanced. But what I was going to say is it's extremely heavy on coaches and, dealing with coaches and, giving them a warning, cautioning them, sending them off for things. And as I listen to the training, I've been through most of the training, I'm taking the test now. It occurs to me that this kind of thing probably goes on in almost every game. And while some referees may step in and have a conversation or give a warning, there's probably a lot of chatter that goes on that, we're not supposed to ignore things because if you ignore it, you're going to get more of it, right? But it occurs to me that in practice, I bet the vast majority of us really don't spend that much time on, let's say, 75% of the games where there's chatter from the sidelines from coaches to really tamp that behavior down. And it made me think of maybe we should, I don't know if Wayne, if you want to do this on a state level, where we have a weekend where we just say, you know what, we're going to enforce the letter of the law as referees. We're not going to tell anybody we're doing it, but we're just going to be giving out yellow and red cards for inappropriate comments and behavior, just to set a tone to say, this is what it could be like if we really enforce these rules on coaches. What do you guys think about that? And do you think I'm way off? Am I too lenient with just my games with coaches, or do you think that could be an issue across the spectrum?
Richard,
I have a better idea.
Oops, I'm
Just
sorry.
enforce it on the first game of the season.
Yep.
If you set the standard on the first game of the season, they know what to expect the entire rest of the season, right? It's like the first challenge of the game, right? If you don't put your foot down on like the first challenge of the game or like where you've set your bar, you're allowing that behavior to continue. But if you stamp it out the first time that it happens, at least that coach and maybe hopefully the opposing coach as well, who's just observing, will get the idea that this behavior isn't tolerated. Now, if it's just something like an emotional outburst that lasts like a second and then they sit back down, I probably wouldn't stamp that out because at that point you're just asking for problems. But, once it passes that threshold of no longer being, an emotional outburst, if you stamp that out the first time that it happens, that coach is going to be, drawn back in really quickly on the remainder of their games.
And that's a great point. I do think that what I'm thinking about is there's probably not as much chatter on, rec league games or the select stuff where there is a season that's, 2.5 months. I'm thinking more of the almost year-long teams that are together that play and, maybe higher level, maybe a little bit older age, competitive level games where they're playing all the time. So when is the start of the season? I don't know. Anyway, it's just a thought I had because the training is really pretty hardcore. I'm like, oh, damn, I should have given a lot more yellow and red cards over the last year, right?
So I think, Ray, did you want to add something to what Cameron said?
Mr. Zip kind of stole the thunder. I think that what he's saying is that we don't have, as referees, we don't have to be jerks. But as referees, I'm a grown man. And guess what? If I was at Safeway and if people yelled at me like they do, coaches yell at me in Safeway, one, we'd probably be fighting or I'd call security. And so I think that what I'm trying to advocate now is when you show up for your game and you introduce yourself to your coach, the coaching staff, I'm not worried about the parents, and let them know. My name is Ray, and I want to be called by my name. I don't even let people call me referee no more, because referee means you're upset. Ray means you have a question, and we can have this conversation like we're having right now. I mean, the only people that can fuss at me, there's 2 people who can fuss at me right now, and my father's about to die. So pretty soon it's going to be one, and that's my wife. And if you're not married to me, don't raise your voice at me no more. We can have a conversation because there's nothing in the rules, and you guys were talking about rules in all those different leagues. There's nothing in all those different leagues that says that a coach can yell at a referee. An adult or a child, set the tone early. If I'm going, don't be afraid. I'm going to make a mistake, and if I do, ask me a question, and I'll answer it when the ball is dead. All these gyrations and stuff like that, please stop. Because guess what? I'm here for 90 minutes to have a good time with your players. That's it. I'm not here to listen to you fuss at me. And I think that just set the tone. You don't need any special training. You have the training right now. Everybody on this call is a good human being. We treat people with respect all the time. Why should we not be treated with respect back in our direction? That's all. And guess what? We all have a bar. And my bar is going to be different than yours, but I will say this: if I'm on the field with the young Kevin, that's your sidekick. Is he a referee too? What's going on, Kevin? What's your name, son? If I'm on the field, go ahead.
My name's Aiden.
Hey, if I'm on the field and you're my AR, guess what? I'm not letting nobody raise their voice to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Period. You're learning. If the coach was that good, he wouldn't be on the game that we're reffing right now, right? If the player is that good, they wouldn't be playing in the game that we're refereeing right now. Because we are just like a player. We are just like a coach. We're trying to get to the next level, right? And how can I get to the next level if you're screaming at me? Because guess what? If I could be as critical of coaches and players as they're critical of us. And believe me, we don't make that many mistakes. We might make one, but we don't make as many as they make. Because it usually starts with the start lineup. They're starting the wrong lineup. If I'm watching the warm up, why is this kid starting? I lose my voice if I could complain about what they're doing as much as they complain about us. So start at the beginning. My name is Ray. I'm going to do my best to officiate this game the best of my ability. If I make a mistake, I'll apologize in advance. I'll try not to make it again. But if you have a problem, can you talk to me? That should be in everyone's pregame from this day moving forward. And say please and thank you. And as soon as they raise their voice, remind them of the conversation you had before the kickoff. Remember, I asked you to talk to me. How could you be mad when someone says, can I remind you what we talked about at the beginning? You're setting them up for, you've already warned them in advance. We already talked about this. That's all you need to do. Try that now. I want everyone to try that this next time you're on the field.
And that's what I would say, Jeff, in regards to when should we start this? I think I haven't done my regional referee training yet for 2023, but they may have updated the material to do a greater emphasis on the technical area. And that's maybe why you're seeing that. It's just an area of emphasis. And hopefully the material is going to make you feel more confident in dealing with it the way that we should be dealing with it. And so I would encourage you that any games that you have this weekend, it's time to start to do it. And because it's something that I've been preaching for more than a year and encourage all referees to take care of, because what we permit, we promote. And so letting them have their antics on the sideline is just, especially, and I turn this to all the adults on this call, especially us. If we're permitting it, then they're going to do it to the 16 and 14-year-olds that are officiating our games. So let's us as adults step up and set the tone with our coaches and our technical areas and our spectators of what acceptable behavior is. So that way we can keep more of our under 18 referees out there on the pitch. Good question, Jeff. I hope that helps.
Richard, can I make an
Thanks,
announcement
guys.
before we go?
Yeah.
I just want to, I'm a toot my horn, but I'm also going to toot Jacqueline Metz's horn and Kirsten Patterson, who's from Washington but lives in California. The three of us will be at the Division II Final Four in Seattle this weekend. And so as we talk about getting to the next level and representing, these are things that that you guys are achieving or trying to get to. Just, when you're reffing U12, what's the goal? To ref U13, then to ref U14, and then get to when you go from the recreation to the select and up to RCL. We're all climbing that ladder every day. And so go out there if you have a chance. I believe the games will be on ncaa.com. It's the Division II women's, but the women's and men will be there. But those games I will be at Interbay. So if you get, and I heard it's supposed to be cold. So if any of us get on games, we're not supposed to be on social media, but I don't think the referee website is social media. So how about we, as soon as we get our schedules, we'll let Richard know. And so you guys can watch, because the games will be, I want to say 11, 1, 3, 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock at night on Thursday. And the championship games, I think the men are at noon on Saturday and the women are at 3. And so, no, you can't get in for free. Someone put that up in the chat. But I don't think it'll be that expensive, but come out and support, especially if Jacqueline gets a medal at one of those games. I would hope that if people have the opportunity to come out and support her, because it's not that often that we go to games and we go to cheer for the teams. But guess what? Some of your teammates will be on the field this weekend in Seattle at one, arguably, at the college level. It's the next best thing since being at the College Cup, which is Division I. The Division II, that's a good consolation prize. So we'll be representing as best we can coming this weekend. So
Yeah, definitely, Ray, if you get the schedule and know people's are officiating, I can throw it on the website. So I know that it's 8 minutes past 8. For those of you, please don't feel obligated to stick around. For those that do for a couple more minutes, feel free to. But please don't feel like you got to stick around if you've got to get back to life. Ed, I see your hand up.
Yeah, I just had a quick question. Something that happened to me in a match. Didn't affect the game. It's like a U16 girls, I think, and ball's coming in. A girl goes to protect her chest. Ball bounces off her arms and goes in the goal. Now, as a man, I'm calling it a goal. Any other time I know, like hands by your side, close to your body, ball goes off your hand, goes in, no goal. But I just want to kind of get a sense of what do we think I should call in that.
What level of play was that game? Was it RCL? Was it
was club,
WPL? Was it rec?
Kind of low level club.
Low level rec or club?
No, it was club play.
Okay. So I think in your description you had that the hands were in front of them, protecting their chest.
Correct.
Okay. So I believe if we look at the considerations for handling, I don't think the players made themselves bigger.
Correct.
I don't think that.
Also, if a ball goes off a hand and into the goal, even if it's close, it's no goal. So.
Yeah, for an attacker, you're absolutely right. For an attacker in that situation that creates the goal scoring opportunity, it does become handling.
Okay, so even if it's a protecting situation, it would still be considered handling, no goal. Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking, but at the time, it's like, I'm not making that call.
It wasn't an attack. It's an attacking player.
Yes.
Yeah, then it's no goal. And then, if this is the second time she did it, then you give her a yellow card. But if it's the first time and it's like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that, then I wouldn't give her a card. But if she's looking at you like you're stupid, then I would give her a card, because that's a cardable offense to put the ball into the net with your hand, especially if you're like putting it up there and turning your body. That would have been the thought for me, is what was her movement with her body, where her hands are up there. And if there's no movement with the body, just no goal.
Had that been the case where it was an action to make it happen, but it wasn't. It was she's there and the ball comes right off her. She's protecting her chest because she sees it coming in, and then it bounces in the goal.
Yeah, no, good call. You did
Just to
great.
add some color to that for everybody. I was a spectator at a game in a tournament over the summer.
Don't forget to provide your phone.
And someone had the exact same play happened. Attacker comes in. It was on a corner kick coming in. Attacker protects her chest and then goes in. And one of the parents on the sideline says, our coach, and it was an RCL, a little bit higher level. Our coach teaches them to do that. So, and it was, that's the first time I've ever seen something like that. So I'm with you, Ray.
Okay, anybody have any other pressing questions for tonight?
So just follow up on that handling question. That's only handling because it resulted in a goal. Had that not resulted in a goal, she is allowed to protect her chest and her head. That's something that we've been told to prevent concussions and injuries. But accidental handling that results in a goal is disallowed, right? That's why it's not a goal.
Yeah, and KD, I don't remember the exact wording of it, but I believe it's that handling that creates a obvious goal scoring opportunity is called as handling.
Yes, even if it's accidental, right? I do know exactly what that verbiage that you're referring to. But anywhere else on the field where it does not create an immediate goal scoring opportunity, that is not handling, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as it doesn't meet the other definitions of handling.
Yes, correct.
Yep. And I think that is the nuance of the current handling laws that spectators and players do not get.
Right.
So we get
Right.
yelled at every time we do it correctly. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate everybody's time tonight. Hopefully you got something out of the conversation. I thought it was very beneficial. So please bundle up as it seems like winter has finally arrived. Stay warm, and we'll talk again in another month. For those that are interested, we'll definitely cover kind of the game expectations for Winter Classic in January. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
So,
Thanks all.
great job, Richard, as always.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks for your help tonight.
Ray, congrats on getting assignments for the Final Four.
Hope and pray we get to blow a whistle. That's all we're cross your fingers and cross your toes. If I'm gonna be out there, I want to be running and not standing in the cold, being a fourth official. I will appreciate it, but I would prefer to run around in the cold rather than stand in the cold.
Oh, for
Hey,
sure.
hey, Kristen was on the Division I last year.
I
And it was
know.
cold down in Santa Clara,
Yep.
and she even wore gloves.
Yep. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It should be real fun.
Hey, Richard, one quick save round, sorry.
That's okay.
The questionnaire for the that state cup tournament in December, when do you think you'll have answers on selections for that?
Yeah, I hope to have that out here the next couple of days.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Richard, I don't know if you saw, but we did post a bunch of games for next year for MRFC.
Okay, I gotta go in. I don't think the 2023 registration is registering correctly right now. So I will go do that right now. I don't think that it's updating on the website, even though I did the change, but I'll go look now.
I don't know what you mean. Ridgestar is a flawless system with absolutely no flaws or errors or issues whatsoever.
Hey, I will take Ridgestar any day over Arbiter.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I would too.
But there's a setting that we have to change once a year, and I went in and did it, but I don't think it's working right. So I'll go look at that right now.
Probably one of those things where like you set it up, but then like you thought you hit saved, but this like the site didn't save it properly, or
that could be
like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna end the meeting, everybody. Thanks.
Good night.
Have a good one.